बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अस्सलाम वालेकुम। चैप्टर 19 तक मैं ऑलरेडी कवर कर चुकी हूँ 2 लेक्चर्स में, जो कि आप चैनल की प्लेलिस्ट में चेक कर सकते हैं। उसके बाद आज चैप्टर 20 है, ये रेनेट मार्टिन की बुक है, हाई स्कूल ग्रामर एंड कंपोजिशन। तो इसका मैं ओवरव्यू कर रही हूँ। तो शुरू करते हैं वर्ब से। वर्ब जो है वो 2 तरह की हो सकती हैं, या तो ट्रांजिटिव या फिर इनट्रांजिटिव। अ वर्ब इज़ अ वर्ड दैट टेल्स और असर्ट समथिंग अबाउट अ पर्सन और थिंग। वर्ब come from the Latin verbum a word. It is also called because it is so called also sorry so called it is because the most important word in a sentence. A verb may tell us what a person or thing does, as Harry laughs, the clock strikes. What is done to a person or thing? Harry is scolded, the window is broken. What a person or thing is: the cat is dead, glass is brittle. Definition: a verb is a word used to tell or assert something about some person or thing. A verb often consists of more than one word, as the girls were singing, I have learnt my lesson, the watch has been found. आगे है जी ट्रांजिटिव वर्ब की पढ़ लेते हैं डेफिनेशन। द वर्ब सेंटेंस जो है वो पहले पढ़ते हैं। द बॉय किक्स द फुटबॉल, द बॉय लाफ्स लाउडली। इन सेंटेंस 1, द एक्शन डिनोटेड बाय द वर्ब किक्स passes over from the doer or object boy to some object football. The verb kicks therefore called a transitive verb. Transitive means passing over. In sentence 2, the action denoted by the verb laughs stops with the doer or subject boy and does not pass over to an object. The verb laughs is therefore called an intransitive verb. Intransitive means not passing over. Definition: a transitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which passes over from the doer or subject to an object. Definition: an intransitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which does not pass over to an object or which expresses a state or being is. जैसे he ran a long distance action, the state the boy sleeps state. There is a flaw in the diamond being. Intransitive verb expressing being take the same cases after them as before them. अब आगे एक और चीज़ पढ़ लेते हैं। Most verbs can be used both transitive and intransitive verbs. It is therefore better to say that a verb is used transitively or intransitively rather than that it is transitive or intransitive. जैसे some ants fight very fiercely, the ants fought the wasps. नेक्स्ट है ये आगे इसकी एग्जांपल्स दी हुई हैं जो ट्रांजिटिव और इंट्रांजिटिव की कहाँ कहाँ यूज़ होती हैं और कैसे कैसे यूज़ होती हैं जी। तो इसको हम फ़िलहाल नहीं कर रहे क्योंकि सिर्फ ओवर भी कर रहे हैं कि इसमें क्या क्या चीज़ें हैं जिसको पढ़ना ज़रूरी है, जो मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है। Intransitive verbs sometimes take after them an object akin or similar to it in meaning to the verb. Such an object is called the cognate object or cognate accusative. Latin cognate akin. I have fought a good fight. अब काफ़ी सारे एग्जाम्पल इसमें लिखे हुए हैं। a noun used adverbally to modify a verb, an adjective or an adverb denoting time, place, distance, weight, value, etc. is called an adverbial object or adverbial accusative and is said to be in the accusative case adverbally, as he held the post 10 years. I can't wait a moment longer. There are few transitive verbs which are sometimes used and intransitive verbs. Transitive, he broke the glass. Intransitive, the glass broke. मतलब पैसिव में अगर चला जाएगा तो वो इंट्रांजिटिव हो जाएगा, एक्टिव में होगा तो वो ट्रांजिटिव। इन शॉर्ट वर्ब्स ऑफ इनकम्प्लीट प्रिडिकेशन नहीं है सॉरी। रीड द फॉलोइंग सेंटेंस। द बेबी स्लीप्स, द बेबी सीम्स हैप्पी. The verb in both sentences are intransitive, but when I say the baby sleeps, I do make a complete sentence. On the other hand, if I say the baby seems, I do not make complete sense. The intransitive verb seems requires a word happy to make the sense complete. Such a verb is called verb of incomplete predication. The word happy, which is required to make the sentence complete, is called the complement of the verb or the completion of the predicate. Verbs of incomplete predication usually expresses the idea of being, becoming, seeming, appearing, The complement usually consists of a noun called a predicative noun or an adjective called a predicative uh, adjective. When the complement describes the subject, as in the following sentences, it is called the subjective complement. जैसे tabby is a cat, the earth is round. मजीद नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल इसी की लिखी हुई आगे चलते हैं एक्टिव एंड पैसिव वॉइस में. Compare. Rama helps Harry. Harry is helped by Rama. It will be seen that these two sentences express the same meaning. But in sentence one, the form verb shows that person denoted by the subject does something. Rama, the person denoted by the subject, does something. The verb help is said to be in the active voice. In sentence 2, the form of verb shows that the something is done to the person denoted by the subject. Something is done to Harry, the person denoted by the subject. The verb helped is said to be in the passive voice. A verb is in the active voice when it is formed shows in sentence 1 that the person or thing denoted by the subject does something, or in other words, in the doer of action. The active voice is also called because the person denoted by the subject acts. Definition. A verb is in the passive voice when its forms shows in sentence 2 that something is done to the person or thing denoted by the subject. The passive voice is so called because the person or thing denoted by the subject is not active voice but passive, that is suffers or receives some action. Definition. Voice is that form of verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject does something or has something done to it. Note the change from the active voice to passive voice in the following sentences. Sita loves Savitri. Sita is loved by Savitri is loved by Sita. मतलब सब्जेक्ट की जगह ऑब्जेक्ट चला जाता है और ऑब्जेक्ट की जगह सब्जेक्ट इसमें आ जाता है. The passive voice is formed with the suitable tense of the verb be followed by the past participle. Study this table. Sense model plus simple present. Active voice, passive voice. Take, am taken. Takes, is taken, are taken. Am taking, am being taken. प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूस में, और फिर प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट में हैज़ टेकन की जगह हैज़ बीन टेकन आ जाएगा. हैव है तो हैव बीन टेकन आ जाएगा. सिंपल पास्ट में टुक है तो वाज टेकन आ जाएगा. पास्ट कंटिन्यूस है तो वाज टेकन की टेकिंग की बजाय वाज बीइंग टेकिंग आ जाएगा. पर पास्ट परफेक्ट है सिंपल. फ्यूचर विल टेक की बजाय विल बी टेकन आएगा. और कैन और मे की जगह कैन टेक, कैन बी टेकन, और मस्ट ईटीसी की जगह मस्ट टेक और मस्ट बी टेकन आएगा. अच्छा जी, आगे है इस उसी को एक्सप्लेन मज़ीद किया हुआ कि जो एक्टिव में ना और पैसिव में जो पास्ट पार्टिसिपल चेंज हो जाएगा, पास्ट वाला चला जाता है. When verbs that take both a direct and indirect object in the active voice are changed to the passive, either object may become the subject of the passive verb while the other is retained. The guard refused him admittance. Admittance was refused to him by the guard. एक्टिव एंड पैसिव वॉइस मज़ीद उसकी ये एग्जांपल्स भी लिखी हुई हैं और एक्सरसाइजेज भी लिखी हुई हैं. इसको हम नहीं पढ़ते, आगे चलते हैं मूड पे. द सिंपलेस्ट यूज ऑफ अ वर्ब इज़ टू मेक अ स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट और आस्क अ क्वेश्चन. एज आई राइट टू माई ब्रदर एवरी वीक. हु रोट दैट लेटर. But a verb may also be used to express a command, as write neatly, or a verb may be used to express a made supposition, as if I were you, I would not do it. These different modes or manners in which a verb may be used to express an action are called modes. Modus manner Latin term है ये. अच्छा, definition. Mode is the mode of or manner in which the action denoted by the verb is represented. There are three modes in English: indicative, imperative और subjunctive. Indicative mode जो है वो to make a statement of fact, as Rama goes to school daily. We are taught arithmetic. Mode. He was legibly. Napoleon died at St. Helena. The child is alive. अब इंडिकेटिव मोड में है. इंडिकेटिव मोड वर्ब इन इटैलिक्स इज सेट टू बी इन द इंडिकेटिव मोड. द इंडिकेटिव mode is also used in expressing supposition which is assumed as a fact, as if assuming a fact that I am to be beggar, it shall never make a rascal. If it rains, अब rains जो है वो इंडिकेटिव मोड है. I shall stay at home. assuming a fact that it will rain. Imperative mode जो है वो imperative is used to express a command as wait there, come here, open your book at page 7 etc. अब subjunctive mode, the following are the forms of subjunctive mode. Present subjunctive, the verb I be, I speak, we be, we speak, or you be, you speak. और past subjunctive में I were, I spoke, we were, और we spoke etc. The present subjunctive occurs in certain traditional phrases where it expresses a wish or hope, as God bless you, God save the king, heaven help us. In formal English, in a noun clause dependent on a verb expressing desire, intention, resolution, etc. As I move that Mr. Gupta be appointed chairman. The past subjunctive is used after the verb wish to indicate a situation which is unreal or contrary to fact, as I wish I knew his name. I am sorry I don't know his name. Chapter 25, Tenses. Introduction. Read the following sentences. I write this letter to please you. I wrote that letter, the letter in his very presence. I shall write another letter tomorrow. In sentence 1, the verb write refers to present the time. In sentence 2, the verb wrote refers to past time, or in sentence 3, the verb shall write refers to future time. Thus, a verb may prefer present time, past time, or future time. A verb that refers to present time is said to be in the present tense or the past tense, correct past tense or future tense. Tenses introduction. Below we give the chief tenses: active voice, indicative mode, or the verb to love. Present tense: singular number first person I love, plural number we love, second person you love, और plural number में भी you ही आएगा, third person में he और plural में they. Past tense: singular number first person I loved, we loved, plural number, second person you loved, third person he loved, they loved. Future tenses: first person I shall, will love, plural number we shall or slash will love, second person you will love, third person he will love or they will love. Read the sentences. I love simple present, I am loving present continuous, I have loved present perfect, I have been loving present perfect continuous. और पास्ट में आई लव्ड सिंपल पास्ट, आई वॉज लविंग पास्ट कंटिन्यूस, आई हैड लव्ड पास्ट परफेक्ट, आई हैड बीन लविंग पास्ट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूस. आई शैल विल लव सिंपल फ्यूचर, आई शैल स्लैश विल लव बी will be loving future continuous, I shall will have loved future perfect, I shall have been loving future perfect continuous. Simple present tense I speak, present continuous tense I am speaking. Same rules apply. The uses of the present and past tenses. Simple present tense. The simple present is used to express a habitual action, as he drinks tea every morning, to express general truths. In exclamatory sentence beginning with here and there, to express what is actually taking place in the present, as here comes the bus. In vivid narratives, as substitute for the simple past, as Sohrab now rushes forward and deals a heavy blow to Rustam, to express a future event that is part of a fixed timetable or fixed program. Note also the other use of the simple present tense. It is used to introduce quotations, as Keats says, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It is used instead of the simple future tense in clause of time and of condition, as I shall will I shall wait till you finish your lunch. As in broadcast commentaries on sporting events, the simple present is used instead of the present continuous to describe activities in progress where there is stress on succession of happiness rather than on the duration. The simple present is used instead of the present continuous with the type of verbs referred. Present continuous tense. Present continuous tense is used for an action going on at the time of speaking, or for a temporary action which may be not be actually happening at the time of speaking, for an action that has already been arranged to take place in the near future. I am going to the cinema tonight. It has been pointed out before, the simple present is used for a habitual action. However, when the reference is to particularly obstinate habit, something which persist, for example, in spite of advice of warning, we use the present continuous with an adverb like always, continually, constantly. The following verbs, on account of their meaning, are not normally used in the continuous form. Words of perception: hear, smell, notice, recognize. Words of appearing: appear, look, seem. Words of emotion: want, wish, desire. Words of think, suppose, believe, agree, consider, trust, remember, forget, know, understand, imagine, mean, mind. Have, possesses, own, possess, belong. To contain, consist of, be, accept when used in passive. Wrong, right. These grapes are tasting sour. These grapes taste sour. Tasting नहीं आएगा. I am thinking you are wrong. ये भी गलत है. Right क्या होगा? I think you are wrong. Present perfect tense. The present perfect is used to indicate completed activities in the immediate past with just as, he as has just gone out. To express past action whose time is not given and not definite. I have never known him to angry. To describe past events when we think more of their effect in the present than if of the action itself. To denote an action beginning at home time in the past continuous up to the present moment, often which with since and for phrase as, I have known him for a long time. The following adverbs or adverb phrases can also be used with the present perfect apart from those mentioned above. Never, ever, in questions only. So far, till now, yet in negatives and questions. Already, today, this week, this moment, etc. Present perfect continuous. The present perfect continuous is used for an action which began at some time in the past and still is continuing, as, he has been sleeping for 5 hours and is still sleeping. This tense is also sometimes used for an action already finished. In such cases, the continuity of the activity is emphasized as an explanation of something. Why are your clothes so wet? I have been watering the garden. Same past tenses. Simple past tense. The simple past tense is used to indicate an action completed in the past. It often occurs with adverbs or adverb phrase or past of past time. The steamer sailed yesterday. I received his letter a week ago. Sometimes the tense is used without an adverb of time. In such cases, the time may be either implied or indicated by the context. The simple past is also used for past habits. He studied many hours every day. He always carried an umbrella. Past continuous tense. The past continuous is used to denote an action going on at some time in the past. The time of the action may or may not be indicated. We are listening to the radio all evening. This tense is also used with always, continually, for persistent habits in the past. He was always grumbling. Past perfect tense. The past perfect describes an action completed before a certain moment in the past. As, I met him in New Delhi in 1996. I had seen him last 5 years before. If two actions happened in the past, it may be necessary to show which actions happened earlier than the other. The past perfect is mainly used in such situations. Simple past is used in one class and the past perfect is in the other. As, when I reached the station, the train had stopped, so I couldn't get into the train. I had done my exercise when Harry came to see me. I had written the letter before he arrived. Past perfect continuous. The past perfect continuous is used for an action that began before a certain point in the past and continued up to that time. As, At that time, he had been writing a novel for 2 months. When Mr. Mukherjee came to school in 1995, Mr. Anand had already been teaching there for 5 years. अच्छा जी आगे है द फ्यूचर देयर आर सेवरल ways of talking about the future in English. The simple future tense, the going to form, the simple present tense, etc. Simple future tense. The simple future tense is used to talk about things which we cannot control. It expresses the future as fact. I shall be 20 next Saturday. It will be Diwali in a week. We will know our exam results in May. We use this tense to talk about what we think or believe will happen in the future. I think Pakistan will win the match. We can use this tense when we decide to do something at the time of speaking. It is raining. I will take an umbrella. Going to. We use the going to form or be going to plus base of the verb when we have decided to do something before talking about it. Have you decided what to do? Yes, I am going to resign the job. Remember that if the action is already decided upon, the preparation has been made, we should use the going form to form, not the simple future tense. The simple future tense is used for an instant decision. We also use the going to form to talk about what seems likely or certain when there is something in the present which tells us about the future. It is going to rain. Look at those clouds. There are the going are to form may also express an action which is on the point of happening. Let's go into the train. It's going to leave. Be about to plus base form can also be used for the immediate future. Let's get into the train. It is about to leave. Simple present tense. Simple present tense is used for official program and timetable. The college opens on 23rd June. The simple present is often used for future time in clauses with if, unless, when, while, as, while, before, after, until, by the time, and as soon as. Simple future tense is not used as such cases. Present continuous tense. We use the present continuous tense when we talk about something that we have planned to do in the future. Future continuous tense. We use future continuous tense to talk about the action which will in progress at a time or in the future. I suppose it will be raining when we start. B2. We use B2 plus base form to talk about official plans and arrangement. The Prime Minister is to visit America next month. The conference is to discuss nuclear task. Future perfect tense. The future perfect tense is used to talk about actions that will completed by a certain future time. I shall have written my exercise by them. Future perfect continuous is used for actions which will be in progress over a time of that will end in the future. By next March, we shall have been living for here for years. Next is the verb person and number. The verb, like the personal pronouns, has three persons: the first, second, and third. I speak, you speak, or old English में those speakest, he speaks. The verb, like the noun and pronoun, has two numbers, the singular and plural. Thus, we say he speak or he speaks, they speak. But we have already seen that the verb also agrees with its subject in person. Hence, we have important rule. The verb must agree with its subject in number and person. That is, the verb must be of the same number and person and as its subject. Thus, if the subject is of the singular number first person, the verb must be I am here, I was there, I have a bat, I play cricket, etc. The infinitive. Read the sentences. I want to go. They try to find fault with us. The forms to go and to find are infinitives. The infinitive is the base of verb, often preceded by to. Read the following sentences. To err is human. Birds love to sing. where the word is too frequently used with the infinitive but is not an essential part of sign of it. Thus, after certain verbs bid, let, make, need, dare, see, here, we use the infinitive without to, as bid him go there, I bade him go. अच्छा जी, use of infinitive. The infinitive with or without adjuncts may be used like a noun as the subject of a verb, as the to find fault is easy, to err is human, as the object of a transitive verb, I do not mean to read, as the complement of a verb, he her greatest pleasure to think, as the object of a preposition, as he had no choice but to obey, as an objective complement, as I saw him go. When the infinitive is thus used like a noun, is called the simple infinitive. The infinitive is also used to qualify a verb, usually to express purpose, as he called to see my brother. He to qualify an adjective as figs are good to eat. To qualify a noun as this is not the time to play. The infinitive may be active or passive. When active, it may have a present and perfect form and may merely name the act, or it may represent progressive or continued action. Present, to love, perfect, to have loved. Present continues, to be loving. Past perfect continues, to have been loving. When passive, the infinitive has a present and perfect form. Passive, present, to be loved, perfect, to have been loved. अच्छा जी, आगे है द पार्टिसिपल. Hearing the noise, the boy woke up. The word hearing qualifies the noun boy as an adjective does. It is formed from the verb hear and governs an object. The word hearing there The word hearing therefore partakes the nature of the both a verb and adjective and is called a participle. It may be called a verbal adjective. A participle is that form of the verb which partakes of the nature both of the verb and of an adjective. Or participle is a word which is partly a verb and partly an adjective. Study the following example of participle. We met a girl carrying a basket of flowers. The above are examples of what is usually called the present participle, which ends in ing and represents an action so going on or incomplete or imperfect. If the verb from which it comes is transitive, it takes an object as sentence 1. Notice also the sentence 2. The participle is modified by an adverb. Loudly knocking at the gate, he demanded admission. Besides the present participle, we can form from each verb another participle called is past participle, which represent a completed action or state of thing spoken of. The following are examples of past participle. Blinded by a dust storm, they fell into disorder. Deceived by his friends, he lost all hope. Time misspent is time lost. In the following example, the participles are used in a simple qualifying adjectives in front of a noun. Thus used, they are called participle adjectives. A rolling stone gathers no moss. We had a drink of the sparkling water. Used adjectively, the past participle is passive in meaning, while the present participle is active in meaning, as a spent swimmer, a swimmer who is tried out, a burnt child, a child who is burnt, a painted doll, a doll which is painted. Let us now recapitulate that we have already learnt about the participle. A participle is a verbal adjective. Like a verb, it may govern a noun or pronoun, as hearing a noise, the boy woke up. The noise is governed by the participle hearing. Like a verb, it may be modified by an adverb, as loudly knocking at the gate, he demanded admission. Here, the participle knocking is modified by the adverb loudly. Like an adjective, it may qualify a noun or pronoun, as having rested, the men continued their journey. Like an adjective, it may be compared as education is the most pressing need of our time. Here, the participle Casting is compared by prefixing most. Below we shown the form of the different participle: active, passive, voice, present, loving, or present passive, being, loving, perfect, having loved, perfect, having been loved, past, loved. Use of the participle: it will be noticed that the continuous tense active voice are formed from the present participle with tenses of the verb as the participle: I am loving, I was loving, I shall be loving. The perfect tense active voice are formed shall participate with the tenses of the verb have as I have loved, I had loved, I shall have loved. The past passive voice is formed: I am loved, I was loved, I shall be loved. Participle qualify nouns or pronouns. They may be used attributively, predicatively, absolutely with a noun or pronoun going before. An absolute phrase can be easily changed into a subordinate uh, clause. Spring advancing, the swallows appear. When spring advances, clause of time. आगे है जी आपका चैप्टर 30 आ गया द जेरेंड. Read the sentences. Reading is his favorite pastime. The word reading is formed from the verb read by adding ing. We also see that is here used to the subject as the subject of a verb and hence does the work of a noun. It is therefore a verb noun and is called a gerund. Further examples of gerund: playing card is not allowed here. I like reading poetry. He is fond of hoarding money. As both the gerunds and the infinitive have the force of a noun and a verb, they have the same uses. Thus, in many sentences, either of them may be used without any specific difference in meaning, as teach me to swim, to see is to believe. The following sentences certain contain examples of compound gerund forms. I heard of his having gained a prize. We were fatigued on account of having walked so far. They were charged with having sheltered anarchists. The gerund of a transitive verb has the following forms: active voice में present loving और passive में present being loved. Perfect having loved, perfect having been loved. As both the gerund and the present participle and in ing, they must be carefully distinguished. The gerund has the force of a noun and a verb. It is a verbal noun. The present participle has the force of an adjective and a verb. It is the adverbal. It is a verbal adjective. एग्जाम्पल नहीं पढ़ती, इसके आगे चलते हैं. The indiscriminate reading of novels is injurious. In such compound nouns as walking stick, frying pan, hunting whip, walking, frying, hunting, fencing are gerunds. Compare the following sentences. I hope you will excuse my leaving early. I hope you will excuse me leaving early. Use of the gerund. A gerund being a verb. Noun may be used as subject of a verb, as seeing is believing, hunting there is not allowed in this country. Object of a transitive verb, as stop playing, children love making and castles. I like reading poetry. He completed marrying his cousin. Object of preposition or complement of a verb, seeing is believing. Absolutely playing, caused being his aversion. We did not play bridge. Irregular verbs. Verbs can be regular or irregular. Walk, walked और walked. जो एक ईडी लगाने से जो वर्ड बन जाती हैं उसको रेगुलर कहते हैं और उसके अलावा जो किसी और तरीके से वर्ड बनती हैं उसको इरेगुलर वर्ब कहते हैं. Below is the list of irregular verbs divided into 3 types mentioned above. Some of them also regular. In such areas the regular forms are the verb. इनको मैं लिस्ट को नहीं पढ़ रही हूँ क्योंकि बहुत सारी वर्ब चाहिए और पढ़ने का फ़ायदा नहीं फ़िलहाल. आगे चलते हैं. ऑक्सिलरीज एंड मॉडल्स. द वर्ब्स बी. इसको पूरी की पूरी बुक को मैं कंप्लीट एक डिटेल डिस्कस करूँगी लेकिन फ़िलहाल सिर्फ ओवरव्यू चल रहा है तो उस हिसाब से चलते हैं. द वर्ब्स बी एम इज़ वाज etc हैव एंड डू व्हेन यूज्ड विद ऑर्डिनरी वर्ब्स टू मेक टेंसेस passive forms. Questions and negatives are called auxiliary verbs or auxiliaries. Auxiliary helping. The verbs can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must, and ought are called modal verbs or modals. They are used before ordinary verbs and express meanings such as permission, possibility, certainty, and necessity. Need and dare can sometimes be called used like modal verbs. Modals are often included in the group of auxiliaries. In some grammars, they are called modal auxiliaries. The modals can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, and ought are termed defective verbs because some parts are wanting in them. They have no sin. The they have no s in the third person singular. They have no ing in and ed forms. B. The auxiliary be is used therefore in the formation of the continuous tense as he is working, I was working. In the formation of the passive as the gate was opened. Be followed by the infinitive is used to indicate a plan, agreement, or arrangement. To denote command, be is used in the past tense with perfect infinitive to indicate an arrangement that was made but to not carried out. As have, the auxiliary have is used in the formation of the perfect tense. Have to is used with the infinitive to indicate obligation, as I have to be there by 5 o'clock. The past from had is used to express obligation in the past. In negatives and questions, have to and had to are used with do, does, did, as they have to go. They don't have to go. Do, the auxiliary do is used to form a negative and interrogative of the simple present and simple past tense of ordinary verbs, as he doesn't work, he didn't work, to avoid repetition of previous ordinary verbs. Do you know him? Yes, I do. She sings well. Yes, she does. Do is also used to emphasize the affirmative nature of the statement, as you do look pale. I told him not to go, but he did go. I do in the imperative do makes a request or invitation more persuasive, as do be quiet or do come. It is not coming to be such fun. In such cases, do is strongly stressed. Can, could, may, might can usually express ability or capacity, as can and may are used to express permission. May is rather formal. May is used to express possibility in affirmative sentence. Can is used in the corresponding interrogative and negative sentences. Compare it cannot be true with it may not be true. Cannot denotes impossible, while may not denotes improbability. In very formal English, may is used to express a wish. Could and might are used as the past equivalents of can and may. Could, as in the first example above, expresses the only ability to do an act but not the performance of an act. We should use was, were, able for ability. In present time context, could and might are used as less positive variations of can and may. Might is also used to express a degree of dissatisfaction or reproach. Note that use of can, could, may, and might with the perfect infinitives. Shall, should, will, would. Shall is used in the first person and will in all persons to express pure future. Today I will, shall is less common than I will. Shall is sometimes used in the second and third person to express a command, a promise, or threat, as he shall not enter my house again. Command, you shall have a holiday tomorrow. Promise, you shall be punished for this threat. Example, will strong threats stress के लिए भी use हो जाता है. Indicates invitations, request, should, we and would are used as the past equivalents of shall and will. Should is used in all persons to express duty or obligations. In clauses of condition, should is used to express a supposition that may not be true. Should and would are also used as in the examples below. Must or to must is used to express necessary or obligation. Must refer to the present of or the near future. To talk about the present, we use had to. The past form of have to. Must is often used when the obligation comes from the speaker. When the obligation comes from somewhere else, have is to often used. Must be can be expresses logical certainty or to expresses moral obligation or desirability. As ought to can also be used to express probability. Used to need there. The auxiliary used to express a discontinued habit. There used to be a house there. I used to live there when I was boy. The auxiliary need denoting necessity or obligation can be conjugated with or without do. When conjugated without do, it has no s and ed forms and is used with an infinitive without to only in negative and interrogative sentences and in sentences that contain semi-negative words like scarcely and hardly. Need I write to him? When conjugated with do, need has the usual forms needs, needed, and is used with a true infinitive. It is commonly used in negatives and questions. In sometimes occurs in affirmative also. Compare I don't need buy it. It was not necessary for me to buy it and I didn't buy it. I need not have bought it. It was not necessary for me to buy it, but I bought it. The auxiliary dare. To brave enough to distinct from the ordinary verb dare. Challenge does not take s. He dared to take such a step. आगे है जी conjugation of the verb love. The conjugation of a verb shows that various forms it assumes either by inflection or by combination with parts of other verbs to make voice, mood, tense, number, and person. And to those must be added infinitives and participles. Below is the given to compare complete conjugation of the verb love with a view to helping the pupil to systemize the knowledge already required him. Active I love, I am loved. Passive आई एम बीइंग लव्ड. ये सारा वही एक्टिव और पैसिव का पूरा स्ट्रक्चर दे दिया जो मैं ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुकी हूँ. लेकिन नॉन फाइनाइट्स का थोड़ा सा कर लेते हैं. लव का बी लव्ड. एंड प्रेजेंट इन्फिनेटिव में टू लव, टू बी लव्ड. कंटिन्यूस में टू बी लविंग. कंटिन्यूस का पैसिव नहीं होता. परफेक्ट पार्टिसिपल टू हैव लव्ड, टू हैव बीन लव्ड. प्रेजेंट पार्टिसिपल loving, being loved. Perfect participle having loved, having been loved. The adverb. Read the following sentences. Rama runs quickly. There is a very sweet mango. Going reads quietly, clearly. Quite quickly shows how or in what manners Rama runs. That is quickly modifies the verb runs. In sentence 2, very shows how much or in what degree the mango is sweet. That is very modifies the adjective sweet. In sentence 3, quite shows how far or to what extent Govind reads clearly. That is quite modifies the adverb clearly, quickly. Very and quite are therefore adverbs. Definition. An adverb is a word which modifies the meaning of a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. In the following sentences, adverbs modifies phrase. Adverbs standing at the beginning of a sentence sometimes modify the whole sentence rather than any particular word. As probably he is mistaken. It is probable that he is mistaken. Kindly kinds of adverbs. Adverbs of time which show when. Adverbs of frequency which show how often. Adverbs of place which show where. Adverbs of manner which show how or in what manner. Adverbs of degree or quantity. Adverbs of affirmation and negation. Adverbs of reason. He is hence unable to refute the charge. अच्छा जी, नेक्स्ट है, यहाँ भी है एडवर्ब्स ऑफ इंटरोगेटिव एडवर्ब्स. व्हाट इज, वेयर इज अब्दुल. रीड द सेंटेंस. रिलेटिव एडवर्ब भी होती है. देयरफॉर कार्ड पूरा पढ़ना पड़ेगा इसके लिए. अच्छा जी, हेयर द एडवर्ब्स वेयर मॉडिफाइज अ वर्ब वाज असॉल्टेड. फर्दर द एडवर्ब वर लाइक अ रिलेटिव प्रोनाउन. हेयर रिलेट्स or to refer back to its antecedent house. It is therefore called a relative verb. मतलब जो रिलेशन बताए किसी दूसरे के साथ. It will notice that a simple verb Adverb merely modifies some word, and interrogative adverb not only modifies some word but also introduces a question. A relative adverb not only modifies some word but also refers back to some antecedents. अब ये उसकी एग्जाम्पल्स आ गई आगे. Adverbial accusative. Comparison of adverbs. Some adverbs like adjectives have 3 degrees of comparison. Such adverbs are generally like an adjective. If the verb is of one syllable, we form the comparative by ending er. Hard, harder, hardest. And superlative by adding est to the adverbs of ending ly. अगर ly है swiftly, more swiftly, most swiftly. It will be noticed that only adverb of manner, degree, and time admit the comparison of comparison. Most of adverbs from their nature cannot be compared as now, then, where, there, once, etc. Some of the commonest adverbs form their comparative and superlative degrees in irregularity, positive, badly, worse, worst. अच्छा, formation of adverb. Adverbs of manner are mostly formed from adjectives by adding ly, aggravation of like, as clever, cleverly, wise, wisely, kind, kindly, foolish, foolishly, quick, quickly, beautiful, beautifully. Some adverbs are made up of a noun and qualifying adjective, as sometimes, meantime, meanwhile, yesterday, midway, others. Some adverbs are compound of weakened to a noun and a noun, as a foot, a bed, asleep. The word be is an old form of a preposition. By some adverbs are compounds of a preposition and an adjectives, as abroad, along, allowed, anew, behind, below, beyond. Some adverbs are compounds of a preposition and an adverbs is within, without, before, beneath. There is also a class of adverbs which are derived from the pronouns that, the, he, who. Adverbs. Pronouns to, the, he, who. Place, from, there, where, here. Motion, thither, hither, whither. Motion, thence, hence, whence. Time, then, when. Manner, thus, how. Many of the above adverbs are compounded with the preposition. Thus, we get thereby, from, there, from, therein, therefore, etc. To adverbs with sometimes go together, joined by the conjunction and is as again and again, more than once, repeatedly, by and by, before, long, presently, after a time, far and near, in all directions, far and wide, comprehensively, far and away, by a great deal, decidedly, beyond all comparison, first and foremost, first of all, now and then, from time to time, occasionally, now and again, and at intervals, sometimes occasionally, off and on, not regularly, intermediately, once and again, on more than one occasion, repeatedly, out and way, beyond comparison, by far, out and out, decidedly, beyond all comparison, over and above, in addition to, besides, all, as well. Over and over, many times, frequently, repeatedly, through and through, thoroughly, completely, thus and thus, in such and such a way, and to and fro, backwards and forwards, up and down. Good books should be read again and again. I want him again and again. By and by, tumult will subside. His fame has spread far and near. As a statesman, he saw far and wide. अच्छा, आगे है position of adverbs. Adverbs of manner which has answer the question how, well, fast, quickly, carefully, calmly, are generally placed after the adverb or after the object, if there is one, as it is raining heavily. Adverbs of or adverb phrases of place, here, there, anywhere, everywhere, on the wall, and of time, now, then, yet, today, next Sunday. They are also usually placed after the verb or after the object, if there is one, as he will come here. When there are two or more adverbs after a verb and its object, the normal order is adverb of manner, adverb of place, adverb of time. Adverbs of frequently, which answer the question how often, always, never, often, nearly, rarely, usually, generally. Position of adverbs. If the verb is am, are, is, was, these adverbs are placed after the verb as. These adverbs are usually but put before an auxiliary or the single verb. When it is stressed, as Abdul has come late again. Yes, he always come late. When the auxiliaries have to and used to prefer the adverb in front of them. When and adverb modifies an adjective or another adverb, the verb usually comes before it, but the adverb enough is always placed after the word which it modifies. As a general rule, the word only should be placed immediately before the word it modifies, as I work the only two sums. In spoken English, however, it is usually put before the verb. The required meaning is obtained by stressing the word which the only modifies, as I only work two sums. आगे प्रपोजिशन है, प्रपोजिशन को फिर नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में करते हैं. थैंक यू फॉर लिसनिंग. अल्लाह हाफिज़.